What's going on, guys? You are locked into Trending with Nate, and today I am joined by one of my childhood favourites, Mumzy Stranger. Mumzy,
yo, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you, man. How are you? You good?
I'm good. It's been a long time since we had you over here at Brit.
It has, man.
So welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
What have you been doing? What have you been up to, first of all?
To be honest, I've just been making loads of music. You know, we're talking what? COVID, isn't it? Like,
Yep.
So it's COVID, 2 years of COVID, and then another 2 years. That's how long it's been.
That's
literally
mad.
2018,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, just been, I think, mainly just recalibrating. You know, coming back to normality, and just I've been in the studio, man. I've just been making loads of music and the odd releases here and there. But I'm excited to drop the vibes.
We are
New
going to
vibes.
get into all of that, but first of all, I want to congratulate you because it is 15 years of Nach Below
It is,
and
oh my
15 years of Streets of Bollywood. So let's talk about your journey right from the start, though. We spoke a bit earlier, and you were telling me that you were actually involved in the grime scene.
Yeah, man. Back in the day, garage.
Tell us about that.
It's mad. So, like, obviously, I was born and raised in East London, Plaistow, and before I even, you know, everyone grew up with Bollywood music. So let's not.
It was in the house.
Desi household.
Yeah.
You're all in. You're all into
yeah.
Bollywood, or heard it in the background or something. But generally, like, I grew up listening to like jungle, garage, R&B, dancehall, etc. And I think the first kind of music that I got into immediately was like garage, and moving on to a little bit, I wouldn't say heavy grime, but a lot of childhood friends like, you know, Gets, a lot of these guys, you know, we're from the same hood, and DWE, and all these guys, Nasty Crew, Sharky Major, Stormin, God bless him, you know, he passed away, but yeah, like that's where a lot of my music history comes from, you know, MCing and spitting on the mic, like they say.
Mad.
Yeah, that's like the original Mumzy, and then leading on to producing and then slowly singing. I think it was only when I met Rishi Rich, I think that co-sign right there, that's when that kind of like Desi in me just was born, like, yo, this is a whole different world.
It just bloomed.
Mad.
But before we get into the Desi side, what do you think stopped you from pursuing more of the urban UK side of things?
To be honest, like, I think like I said, if you look at someone who's South Asian back then, like even then, you didn't even say South Asian. That word is like a very current terminology,
that's so true.
just to group us all together. Back then, you were Indian or Bengali or Pakistani. That was it. It was all kind of like, where you from? Oh, you're Sri Lankan. You know, like you would know where someone's from. As I was mentioning earlier, like back then, you looked like where you're from, because that's what we were taught. That's how we were brought up. Now, you can't even tell if someone's bloody Jamaican, Cuban, you know, Indian, Bengali. Like, you all just look a certain tone, and that's it. You can't, because fashion. I think fashion has, you know, taken us to a completely different, and music, to a different place. So back then, like I said, for me, being Bangladeshi, that was a straight up minority, straight away. Like, you know, I didn't have an uncle or an auntie I could call up, yo, get me in the studio, let's have a jam session. Like, no one was really into music in my family like that. Listeners, yes. Loads of people who had records and CDs and vinyl and all that. But
not actually getting into the scene.
Not getting into the scene. So for me, that was hard as it is. But when I finally kind of like met people that were in the music scene, and you know, I was brought up in a very multicultural you know, community. So there was a lot of Jamaican, a lot of different Italian, Greek, everything, like Indian, Punjabi, everything. Just, it was a mixture of people, and I think that helped me get into music, like and even that scene, school, etc. So, but there was only a certain path I could take, because come on, man, like being raised up Bangladeshi, British Muslim house, for me, wow, like certain things were just like, you can't do that, can't do this, can't do that. But I think I was always like the black sheep or the alien in the family, so I would like do it anyway. I would just go, I'm gonna go and like try this out, and I think it was that really just breaking boundaries, breaking rules. That was what kept me going. But there was always like a wall, and that was first being South Asian, first being Desi, that wall immediately. And then just generally, man, like getting into the mainstream it was hard, like back then. I don't think even urban music, like it was only until Soul Solid Crew really went and took it mainstream. Soul Solid Crew, and then you had Wiley and Skep, you know, just the artists that were doing their thing. It was only when that happened, urban music really got on the map. But I'm talking before that. So it was hard, man. It wasn't something that I even thought I would have landed myself in. So far-fetched, you know. So yeah, that was like the early days.
So when you met Rishi, obviously, and you blew up on the Desi scene, because I think that's when, I remember the first track I heard was Give Me One More Dance, and then you had H on the remix. And so, you know, you were saying you grew up in like a very multicultural community. I feel like that kind of translated in that song because it wasn't your typical Desi track at all.
Nah. But you know what, that came a little bit later. So I think the first, obviously, getting a co-sign from Rishi Rich in 2005, that was a game changer, you know, an eye-opener for me. Especially because at the end of the day, me being from the Bangladeshi, you know, community, and Rishi being Punjabi, Indian, he kind of reached out and said, yo, let's do this, man. And straight away when I met him, it was like, Mumzy, we need to work and we need to get you in the studio. And obviously my head was like, yo, what am I getting myself into? Because I was into R&B, I was into garage, I was into hip hop, I was into dance. So my music was elsewhere, but I think it was my Punjabi friends who really kind of like educated me about the scene. That's the whole reason I even got the chance to meet Rishi, was because one of my boys that literally sent my demo in, and that's how I got into a competition. And you know, Rishi was there, and I think my fate, that prize was to meet, you know, the legend Rishi Rich. And it was only when Rishi kind of co-signed me, took me on, I met like a whole different scene. I was like, yo, this is mad. Like
this exists.
Yeah, like, whoa, what's going on here? Because I was always kind of in my area, East London. I was from that side of the world, and I only knew what was available to me. But yeah, man, when I met Rishi, like I met like, yo, this is Bhangra music. This is, you know, this is that artist. This is, you know, this is what we do. But I think it was relatable to me because it was so, there was an urban element to his music, and what Rishi, Jay Sean and Jagadi, what they did at that time, and so many others, you know, but just generally their sound, I could relate to it. So it wasn't like, oh, I was going into an area of music that I didn't understand. Like, I think he made it possible, and I felt like it was the beginning. And the records that really like helped me was Stranger, which was something that we released. That was quite grimey. So it was like a grime stroke, and it had that kya kaha, that little sample in it, you know, like he made it sound cool. And then we dropped Let's Party. I think Let's Party was the first record that he put like a, you know, doll and his, you know, that kind of dancehall sound and together. That's what really kind of like popped it off for me. Then we led on to One More Dance.
Was it important for you to kind of keep the other side of you and not go too much into the Desi sound?
Yeah, do you know what? It was, but again, the Desi sound, it wasn't planned. Like my plan was always to sing R&B. It was always going to be me singing in R&B or rapping in bashment, dancehall. It was never to really like put a Punjabi vocal in, or maybe change the sound a little bit. But the aim then was like, yo, who's the next, you know, R&B Desi R&B artist to make it? Who's the next Desi dancehall artist to really like take it to the next level? So our plan was always kind of like to do that. I think the scene changed. I think it was when, like every time I went, and I remember every time I went to the studio, Rishi had done a track with like Jassy, or he'd done a track with Malkit and Natch Pillow coming to that story. It's like, yo, Mumzy, what do you think of this tune? And I'm like, you know, I'm listening to it, like, yo, this is a vibe, bro. He would put his urban chords in it. I'm like, okay, I can relate to it. So he goes, drop a verse. So I think that's where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, we're in the booth and I'm putting a verse on it. So I kind of became, I don't know, accustomed to that sound. And that's where that whole, so I had two things running. I had the Mumzy singing R&B bashment on my songs. and then I was the feature on
The
Natch
proper
Pillows
Desi
and
track. Yeah,
man. So it kind of like, and that's when we got to like It
was
Can
a
Only
good
Be Love.
balance. Yeah.
Streets of Bollywood. So
Let's talk about Natch Billo for a sec.
let's go.
How was it working with the icon Malkit Singh?
Absolutely. You know what? I can't even express it in words because the thing is, as much as I was like into my urban music, I knew who Malkit is.
Yeah.
Like everyone, like from back in the day, everyone knows his songs, you know?
You know, there's one thing about Malkit Singh, right? He's going to make a banger. He is going to make a banger.
110%. I couldn't agree less, man. Honestly, you know what? It's mad because when I went to the studio, like I said, I heard the song and Rishi played it. I was like, yo, this is wavy. I just thought he was playing it to me because as normal, you know, like he used to play me songs. And he goes, well, we want you to jump on it. I'm like, what? What do you mean we? Because me and Malkit want you to drop a vibe on it.
That is.
I'm like, this is pressure, man. Like, you know, so obviously I heard the beat.
Mad.
Jumped on it, and then I think the process of the way we used to do it, we should just put the chords in and we used to take the lyrics off and I used to just vibe to the groove and whatever came in my head. Obviously I'd ask, bro, what does this song mean? Not trying to understand, you know, and Bill obviously, it wasn't like rocket science and like just rap about anything. So I just rapped, did my thing, put it down. And when I heard the final song, I was like, man.
Banger.
Man, I was so like impressed and I was just happy. But when it came out and I had to go, like the funniest thing for me was I had to fly to India to do the video. And it was was it the first time I went to India? I'm not sure. Maybe it was my second trip. But it was so random. Like literally, it was a Wednesday and like, yo, what's up? I'm like, you're going to India tomorrow. I'm like, for what? For the video.
Imagine.
I'm like, what? All right, cool. Like you're going with Malkit, you're going to do the video, but he's already there, so you're going to go. So I'm like, what? Am I going there and like staying?
No.
Yeah, you're going to go there, shoot the video and come back. I literally went to India for one day to shoot that video, legit.
And then you came back?
No lie. Literally went to India to shoot the video.
You didn't get to see any sights or anything?
Nah, on that trip was purposely for go and shoot the video.
Wow.
That's how it was. It was so random. And I remember when I went there, you know, I met Malkit for the first time and he's such a like legend, like bless him. He's so cool, like even though, you know, he's a Punjabi banger singer, like he was cool, man. Like he's just cool guy, very well presented, you know, he could take a joke, you know, you can have a conversation with the guy. And I remember being at the shoot and it was just like Bollywood, like there was like everyone, all dancers.
Yeah.
I think there was this random guy running around with smoke, like spinning it in there. I'm like, yo, we use some smoke machine in London. This
They
guy
do
is
it the
like
manual way.
burning coal, like you're in a lounge, like the man's spinning it in the air. And I'm like, what's going on here? But that was their smoke for the video. Yeah. So it was so cool, but it was a memory, like it was a great experience, and you know I wouldn't change it for anything. I just remember, can't believe it's been 15 years.
I just can't get that coal out of my head. That is
spinning that, you know. And I'm looking up, and I'm like, where's this light coming from? I see some brother just there shooting that light. There's not even a stand. Like, he's like, Mumzy, can you look this way? I'm like, okay, like man's it's on my face. Crazy. But
they do it differently in India, don't they?
100.
But it works. It works.
It works. Yeah.
What about like working with H. Dummy, like another amazing Punjabi vocalist? How was that for you?
You know what? That journey for me was just such an exciting time, and like H isn't just another artist. For me, he's like my partner in rhymes. Yeah. Like me and H we started together. Yeah. And it was just the experience was priceless. Like, I'm so close with H, like he's just like a brother. You know, from the music we just became brothers. And I remember like when he was doing his Sadke Java, Mrita Jan, I was at his videos. Yeah. Then when I was doing my videos, he was at my video. Yeah. Like there was a point I remember, I think he was shooting Mrita Jan, and I was there like random in my tracksuit bombs. He's like, "Wait, jump in the video." I'm like, what do you mean? I can't do that. He goes, you're doing it. Jump in the video and just dance. I'm like, okay, cool. I was just dancing and it was just cool. Like nothing was.
A nice brotherhood, it seems like.
Yeah, it was planned, but not really planned. Like, and even the tours, man. Like we went Canada, we went so many countries.
That must have been a vibe.
Such a vibe. But one thing I will say, like you put me and H on a song together, it's explosion. Like,
you're making a banger.
Yeah, we even said it. We've been talking about it. Like we're gonna do an EP called Damzi. And I'm like, is this going to happen? Like, we keep talking about it, but then COVID came. I hate that word, but
I hate COVID.
in it. But we will be doing it. We will be doing it. So
okay, guys, we are going to keep up with that. Okay,
yeah.
Darmzy, we need to see that soon.
Trust me, man.
All right, let's talk about the streets of Bollywood, because I swear that has a special place in all of our hearts. I think anyone from that era who was really like listening, like, or just tuned into the Desi scene at that time, that is on your playlist.
It's mad.
It Can Only Be Love. That track and City Guy, tell me about that, the process.
You know what? Again,
and the response.
It's crazy. Like, it's nostalgic to me now when I remember the name and I listen back. Like, you know, big up Movie Box for the track and, you know, the whole project. It was just such a cool experience. I think, again, going back to studio, that's where it starts. Rishi had a beat. It was an R&B beat, and he put the sample in. I'm like, yo, this is what you're known for. So you expect Rishi, but I don't think no one was like doing it. I think that's where that whole kind of like sampling, you know, started. Like, big up Bali Sigu as well. What a legend. I think Rishi just had that magic of sampling a Bollywood track and just making it sound right, you know. And I think we were like probably one of the first, you know, probably more, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, to drop a record like that at a time. And I think the beauty of it was we didn't plan it. Like, we didn't say, we didn't say, oh this is gonna go that way. We were like, yo, this is a vibe. And I like the fact that there wasn't a huge plan for it, because it just takes that whole pressure off the track. So we just went in the studio, vibe, you know, what does the song mean? Can Only Be Love. And I remember just when we made that song, we kind of like parked it, and then we done Shahidi Bubble. We done that one. That was just cool. So we done 2 records, parked them, and then literally when the guys put the plan together to do Streets of Bollywood, it just made sense, you know. These records were fit for it, and it only made sense, obviously, you know, there's the business side of it. It made sense, which I kind of stayed out of. I just did my thing. And I remember they're like, again, yo, bro, get ready, why? You're going to Spain. I'm like, this thing of, you know, this 24-hour notice, man, like, come on, sort it out. Like, you're going to Spain. And we went to Spain, shot the 2 videos. It was such a cool experience.
How many days did you have there?
I was there for about 4 days.
Okay, that's a bit better.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Tell me about it, yeah? 4 days, shot the video. It was cool. And I think the whole project just blew up. Like, it just, like I said, parallel to One More Dance and the other stuff I was doing, this was just, I think it was just working. I think that Desi Urban.
Such a vibe.
Yeah, because it wasn't available. This was a new sound. It was a new era that was born at the time. And for me, like, I can't even, you know, the shows, when I went to perform it, I had to do my own like edit because there was a sample going through it. Every time I performed it, people were just going crazy. So it was a good memory, man. It was a good time.
I do think it was like a really pivotal moment, because I remember like prior to that, like when the urban Asian sound really started coming out, we just had a lot of just proper Desi sounding, Desi music, and which is sick, and we loved that. But I remember this, and especially It Can Only Be Love, being like, oh my God, this is a vibe, because it was just the best of both worlds. And there was nothing like that out there at the time.
It's so crazy. You know what, interesting fact, just recently, a lot of people are like, man, we got married to that tune, man. You know,
oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, so many people just take it back. Like, it was such an important song for their wedding or their, you know, ceremony.
It was the beautiful song.
Yeah, man.
How does it feel, like, knowing you were such like an important part of people's love stories?
Listen, I feel happy, innit? I feel honoured. I feel privileged, you know, and it's still going. Like, I still hear the song being played, and I think that's the beauty of music, you know. You could put a song out and it's popping for a week or it's popping for a month and then no one's listening to it. But when a song comes back and it's on the radio, you can't get a better feeling than that.
So obviously, being a Bengali, coming into the Punjabi industry, especially at the time you did, how was that for you? Did you face any struggles? Were you nervous?
Always.
Yeah. Always.
Good question. You know what? I think just coming out, like being a Bangladeshi and just making music and releasing it was always, it's always going to be a hurdle. First, just starting at home. Yeah. So once I'd passed, obviously, once I'd not normalized, but my family kind of said, oh yeah, he makes music. Yeah. Just leave him alone. You know, just let him get on with it. Yeah. So once I passed that and I was allowed, never allowed, but you know, just leave him alone kind of thing. That when I started like working with Rishi and working on just Desi records, I think where it changed was it's all good being in the studio. Your confidence is like, man, this tune's sick. Like you all gas each other up. But the first Bhangra event, I think that's when I performed. I was at school. They're like, Mumzy, you're gonna go to this show, yeah? Like if the crowd don't feel it, just don't stress. You know, don't worry. You've got 2 songs, which is Stranger, which is so non-Bhangra, non-Desi, right? The only thing that is, like I said, Kya Kaha, that was the only thing I had to like hold on to in my dear life when I went to the show. And then I had Let's Party with that, Nach Merena. So it was like a little vibe there, a little Bhangra dancehall beat. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, is it that bad? Like, is it going to be that hard? Literally, I think it was in West London, and it was a hotel gig, you know, like back in the day. So I went there and it was like, started performing. And that's when no one, remember, I didn't have music videos. So I didn't have no music video. It was like, Mumzy, that's it. So I went there, crowd, started with the track. It was all good. Like, yeah, man. And it was hard, like, because the beat wasn't, you know, for
what they were
Bhangra
expecting,
crowd. So I was like, okay, cool. And I stopped and I'm like, okay, let's do the lifeline. The lifeline was Let's Party. Soon as that started, I was like, boom, everyone's just going mad. I was like, okay, I just went with the crowd. Like, I was like, so I didn't really have a plan. It was just like, yo, damn, people feeling this, you know? And every time we went out and did a show, every time we just performed, and every time we took that energy back to the studio and we just created another one. So it was more like, yo, we're gonna put this to the test. And it was amazing how just the Desi community like just accepted me. Obviously, it was my Bangladeshi community. That was the first struggle to, and I realized that at the beginning, people, oh, not allowed. You're not allowed to do this. Mumzy, what are you doing? You know, like everyone was dropping the, you know, doing.
Fingers.
Yeah, like you should have been at this doctor, solicitor. You know, like all that. Fine. I was studying, by the way. Yeah, so it was all good. But all that came. But then at the same time, people accepted it, you know, like people were following it, people were feeling it. And again, the Punjabi community, like the support I got was crazy. Like
that is amazing.
I don't think anyone not cared. I don't want to say that. People, obviously, look, everyone's got that little hating crew from wherever you come from, but nah, man. I think
it was never really a thing that
the music just
yeah.
People just accepted it, man. It was just like, yo, he's Mumzy, man. He does his thing. So that was cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like at that time you were maybe the only. Yeah, you were the only one.
I think I was the first.
You were the first.
First, yeah. It was mad. It was I was literally the first.
Do you think like in a Desi industry, even though it is like heavily, you know, it's just Punjabi artists, do you think there is like just less representation for the Bangladeshi and the Pakistani artists? And why is it so hard for them to kind of get into the industry? Do
you know what? Like, it depends how you look at it, right? Like at the end of the day, for me, I'm a British Bangladeshi. You know, my first language I learnt was English. So the first thing I'm gonna hold on to is English. If I was from Bangladesh, like just born there, then it's different. Then I'm going the longer way around. But I think we're a different generation, man. Like we're a different breed. Like we grew up listening to everything. It was a mishmash, you know. And we didn't grow up just listening to I didn't listen to Bengali music growing up. I heard a few tunes here and there, but it wasn't something I grabbed onto. I was like, yes, this is my sound. The first thing I listened to first was English music, then Bollywood music. So I think all of that helped me form. It helped me, you know, become the artist I am today. And yes, we could say like, oh, Indians don't support or Pakistanis don't support. Like everyone can throw that card, but nah, man. I think personally, how good are you at doing something? If you can dance, if you can produce, or you can play a role, or you can sing Punjabi or Urdu or whatever language, if you're doing it properly and it's, you know, you've gone down the right avenue, the right paths, and you're smashing it, no one can say nothing to you. And that's the attitude I've always had. Like, you know, I'm not really that kind of person. Criticism and I don't listen to it. I do listen to it. I'll take criticism. If I'm not saying a word properly, then I'll go back and I'll say it. I think a lot of my friends who write a lot of my Punjabi songs, they help, you know, and you got to take all that into consideration. And I think confidence builds when you start. Come on, man. If Akon can come and do Chammak Cello,
come on.
We're from the same motherland, all of us.
Exactly.
If you really look at it, so I've never really looked at it like that. For me, it's just exploring the market. But I think being accepted, it's still like even a lot of my friends like Rackstar and H and a lot of these guys are like, Mumzy, man, you sung that Punjabi song better than us, bro. What's going on here, bro? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're smashing it. And I'm like,
amazing.
Let's do it. So for me, as long as people feel it and they love it, it's just music, man. At the end of it, it's music. That's all it is.
For real. So obviously you've been like an urban Asian artist. Yeah. Did you ever want to really break into the mainstream?
Always, man. I think that's always been, especially for someone, like I said, I started singing English, isn't it? I wasn't singing Bengali or Punjabi or Urdu back then. For me, English was the first thing. So it was always that kind of like the dream. Oh man, I want to be the next, you know, R&B singer or next bashment sensation, whatever. That's always going to be first, isn't it? That everyone's
Because you did have the track with Priya Kalidas, Shimmy. Yeah. And she did kind of get into the mainstream. Obviously, she was on EastEnders. Yeah. She had the track with Skepta. Yeah. Did you think maybe that would have been your way in?
100%. I think like any affiliation, I think working with Priya was like, it was a segment of doing, I think that was just a segment of working with a big label like Universal and just an element of it and the way it was done. But generally, like, I think, you know, when I did One More Dance, like we charted, man. People that don't know, we sold units. It went on MTV. We did things that a lot of artists still can't even think of doing today. You know, Fern Cotton, I remember she played Fly With Me on Radio 1. First play.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that, you know. I'm saying it now because I remember that memory. But to break those barriers, I wouldn't say that it was easy. It was a huge struggle. Just being a brown person, forget like where you're from. That comes later. I think just being South Asian and trying to get into the mainstream, that's always been a battle. Like, and I say this, that's a different time. Like, that was an analog time of CDs and moving from vinyls to CDs, mini discs. There was such a different time. We were in the transition, and I think a lot of artists from that time, like myself and few, we don't get like the credit. I don't think people understand the transition from analog to digital. How music went from CDs to being streamed now on Spotify. And I think a lot of artists, man, that was like, it's like a tornado. Like you were going up, but then now, oh my God, I have to rebrand myself. Yeah. So that was a weird time, you know, but I think we were placed there to do what we needed to do, and we did that.
You have paved the way, I think, for a lot of artists.
You know, I would never say it, but, you know,
we're going to say it.
It's nice to know. Let others remember it if they remember it, you know, so that's the way I say it.
I want to talk about the anthem dance.
Oh. With
First Man, H Dummy, Juggy, Rackstar. How did that come about? Because I feel like that I watched the little behind the scenes documentary you guys did as well. So that? I know that, like, you know, they kept it very hush hush. No one knew what you guys were doing. How did you pull it off? Because I feel like that you released it and it was just like, whoa.
Do you know what? It's crazy. Like, I think the first credit will go to First Man, and I remember like big credit to him actually. I think First Man was doing mad. Like, for those who don't know, like he killed it in his Dutch music, his Dutch scene. If you don't know that, go and check his music. And it's weird because I think First Man hit me up on the gram, on literally Instagram, and it's become so kind of like cool to just, if you're feeling someone, message them.
Message them,
like,
yeah.
If they don't get back, they don't get back. But he messaged me, and it's weird because just before he had messaged me, I had already known his music. There was a few tunes I just added on my, you know, like, this tune's, you know, and I was like, yo, and obviously I didn't know he was a South Asian. I didn't know he was Pakistani. I didn't think of these things. I was just like, yo, this tune, this beat, because I used to listen to a lot of Dutch, Spanish, stroke French music. I was like, hold on, I know this guy. So I literally, I'm like, yo, bro, what's up? Hit me up. I want to work on your music. And he showed respect, like, big fan, bro. I was like, you know what? That's the right attitude, you know, and straight. And I didn't think he was on making Desi music. Yeah. And he said, yo, bro, I've got this idea. I got this song. What do you think? Like, who do you think? What do you think? Yeah. How can we make this happen? And I was like, and I'm not that kind of person to like par you. I'll at least get back. And if I feel it, I'll make it happen. If I don't, then I'll say, yo, this ain't working. Yeah. And in my mind, straight away, I just thought of, yo, these are the artists. Who do you think can sound good in this? And I think H Dami was there. Raxtor was in the list. I think it was just people that were in and out of my studio. I wasn't really on contacting the whole world. It was just like, who's on this? And let's make it happen. So from my side, it was me, H, and Raxtor. And I think First Man already had conversations going with Juggy. Yeah. So what he did was he said, yo, let's do a writing camp. Yeah. Let's literally flew us all out. He flew us all out to like executives.
Love that. Love that.
Flew us out to Holland. And it was quite cool because he had like 3 or 4 producers, different studios, and we were like rotating from that room to that room and went to that room, wrote a song there. We had like 24 songs.
Wow.
Legit, a lot of people don't know this. Like, literally, we had so many tunes, and there was this one song. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, hold on a second.
It's a vibe.
And he had already had the hook. So he had the hook on it. He had his parts kind of laid down. And everyone just took the song and went into different rooms, zoned out. And I was like, baby girl, let me explore you. I was like, writing. I was like, yo. And it was crazy. And I think that tune stood out for everyone, just at that time. And I think a week later, I think Juggy was going there to work with First Man, and he heard the tune, and he was like, yo, he just put the icing, you know, like the icing on the cake, because he was last in the song, so it kind of makes sense, you know, OG like Juggy coming in the end of the song to add the icing. That's how kind of like it was formed. But honestly, the mentality, I think the main thing here was the fact that 5 Desi artists, you know, big up Harry and B, the producer, from different places, like, you know, Holland, you know, Punjabi, Bengali, Pakistani, like everyone, no one thought about these things. Everyone just, there was no ego, there was no like alternative plan. It was like, yo, let's get together. And it was all about the music. And I felt that that song represented, yo, collaborations need to happen.
It was one of the biggest collabs that had happened in a long time.
Well, we got the award from BritAsia for that, so thank you. But yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Like, it was a statement, and I felt like we did it. We shot the video, he shot the video, and it was...
The video was sick as well.
Thank you, man. By the way, we flew out to the video. So after the studio, we went back, so we chose the songs, and then, man, it was the whole... I just felt that whole experience was just heartwarming. It was just such a good, fun experience. It was brotherhood. It was a great project, you know.
I think it translates in the song now as well, because like you listen to it and you just feel good. Like it's such...
Still playing now, like it's mad.
Same. Yeah. I actually do. I'm not even lying. It's on my playlist.
Nah, see, there you go. But no, it was a great experience, man.
It's now time for a little game.
Right, let's go.
We're gonna put your songwriting skills to the test.
Is it?
So I do call this segment Bullying with Nay, but I'm not gonna make you do a bully unless you want to.
Well, let's see where it goes.
Let's see.
Might have to, innit?
Might have a little. You know? You're going to pick a little piece of paper from here. Whatever the word says, you have to include that word in your song, in your bully. You could even rap. We're going to go 3 times.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Lafafa. Did I say it right?
Lafafa.
Lafafa.
So that is an envelope in Punjabi.
Okay. Look, paper, envelope. This was planned. Lafafa. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It's one of my favourite Punjabi words.
Lafafa.
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 Yeah. I should really get that, innit? Lafafa. So you have to put that into Lafafa. All right, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, gallem. You can laugh Girl, you can write to me in a love fafa. Did I say it right?
Yes.
I'm trying to get. Right, let me start again.
That was
Rewind.
reload.
Yo. Girl, you can laugh. Girl, write to me, girl, le fafa. You know that Mumzy Stranger bring the laughter. Me in the danger, bring the danger.
I love it. That was.
Hope that was good.
That was so good. Okay. And this time, don't just pick the one on top.
All right, let's go. Let's have a good little mix up. All right, let's see what this one is. Maths.
Okay, no, let's go.
Let's
Who
get rid of
wrote these?
That didn't happen.
Who
Let's get
wrote
rid of
these?
that. Maths. Any maths project? Maths teacher. First dates. Ooh.
No, give me that
I
back.
like
You're getting
that
the same ones as Nish.
All right, let's do that.
We'll go again.
See? Behind the scenes. Let's go. All right. Biscuit.
Who wrote the Mumzy?
All right. Let me have a good masala mix.
Yeah. Give it a good little
Let's
stir.
make a chutney. All right, let's go. You ain't gonna believe it.
Go on.
Malkit Singh. Malkit Singh. Bro's here. Look, I picked up 2. Malkit Singh goes to
was
school.
on top. All right, come on. Let's make something up with that.
All right. All right, let's go.
That's mad, you know.
All right, let's go. You ready, yeah?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Yo, let me take it back, girl. 15 years, Malkit Singh, girl them sing, got diamond rings. You know if you tell them, girl them sing, notch below, girl, notch below, 23.
Amazing. I think that was a great way to celebrate 15 years of Notch
There you
Below as
go.
well.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
It's
All
done.
right, your last one.
All right, let me try to switch this up, yeah?
Yeah. I'm praying that it's something good. What?
Socks.
Yeah, let's have another one.
I think someone's got their laundry mixed up here somewhere, or school, or maths teacher.
Someone's put their chores in here.
Banana, I picked up 2 again. Banana and apple. What is going on here? Banana and apple.
All right, we're going to go with it. We are going to go with it.
Bloody hell, hold on, let me think about this. I'm gonna get my mind juggling, hold on.
Someone wrote their shopping list and put it in my godly today.
I was gonna actually sing on this one, but how am I gonna sing about a banana and apple?
If anyone could do it, it's you, Mumzy.
Let me think. Oh, is that good?
But I really believe in you. You can do this.
I'm really like banana and apple. I've never used them in my lyrics in my life.
There's a first time for everything.
Girl, you know you're sweet like banana. You know like an apple, like an appetizer. You know we feel you get your sizer. We gonna...
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. You made that work.
Was that good? See, here you go. Done it.
I think that needs to be in your next track.
Appetizer.
Appetizer.
Banana. You're sweet like a banana. Yeah, see.
That's a new
I made it
one.
work. I made it happen.
I feel like the
Energies
men are
are
going to
good.
start using that. That's going to be the next line.
It's going to go viral.
Viral. Let's go. All right, Mumzy, what have you got coming up next? What can we expect? Is it going to be a big year?
You know what? I'm hoping it's going to be a big year. My main goal now is literally just to release loads of music. I've got my latest release out, Majburiya. If you don't know, go listen to it.
Go listen.
I'm still going to shoot the video, but I just wanted to put out the audio so people just listen to it. I wanted people to just kind of take in the song. It's a Senti vibe. Listen to the song. Don't worry about the video, you know?
Yeah.
I want to take it back, back to the way things were. But loads of collaborations, big collaborations. I can't mention who yet, but this year's going to have quite a few collab records, Desi and non-Desi. So main aim is to release more music, but I'm working on an album.
Love that.